Joe, your reliability man, bridging the gap between best practices and the reality that you live every day, bringing together all my experiences as a plant manager, a large department manager, a director of reliability for a corporation, an engineer, maintenance manager. I've lived in your shoes, I've lived on the front lines, and hopefully my experiences and insight can help you on your journey and at a minimum get it started. Okay, today's topic is going to be an introduction of a term called the reliability flywheel. And you're going to hopefully equate that to culture. You know, we hear a lot about reliability tools. We hear about it's all about the culture. I'm going to try to make that culture less mysterious, okay? Now, hang with me here. I'm going to start off back in the past. Hang with me. This is going to be good, okay? So Ed Deming, coming out of World War II, helped the Japanese with an improvement process that he's considered the father of modern quality, and that improvement process is called the PDCA. Plan, do, check, and act. Okay, planning is when you have like a leadership body is going to decide what they want to do. Then you do that action. Then you validate that those actions make a difference. Check the metrics, check their KPIs. Then you adjust and take some new actions, bring that to that oversight committee, and keep going around this cycle. Okay. And as an example, say that you're running a coating line and you have material running through that line. You want to change the line speed from 800 feet per minute to 900 feet per minute. So that comes from the oversight group. Then you have some engineers and technical people that go through the changes to make that happen. Then they evaluate maybe the thickness of the coating, the quality of the coating here, and then they may make some adjustments, and then they go back here to this oversight. Say they have to make some adjustments and say, hey man, we really need to slow that down, and then they come back in the second time around this cycle, and let's try 875. That's the PDCA cycle. Okay, great. Put that in your memory. Okay, now we're going to take a look at how does that apply to reliability, Joe? I don't understand. How are you going to tie it together? Okay, so let's start. We're going to do this in red. We've got the leadership team. Some call this governance. Okay. And then once the leadership team says what we're going to work on from a reliability standpoint, we do planning and scheduling, we do kitting and staging, and then we execute the work. Then we come down here and we evaluate. Sometimes we autopsy the work. We autopsy the work. And then we come over and we may have some, observation, some reliability engineering work. Maybe we're looking at some KPIs, and then that comes back to the leadership committee. Okay, you should notice this. This is the PDCA cycle, right? We're not inventing anything new, okay? And this, what you're trying to create at your site, and what I tried to create, is this cycle is your culture. We have a culture where we have a leadership body, and that leadership body picks the 2, 3, 4 key things that we want to improve and brings them down to the execution people, the people that plan, schedule, kit, stage, and execute the work. And then we made those changes, say we're trying to drive wrench time, or we're trying to drive a lubrication excellence at our site. And then we evaluate whether that was successful, and then we adjust, we adapt, and then that comes back to the lead team. So what we're trying to do in this culture is nothing new. It's PDCA. So what can we draw from this? Dramatic improvement comes from going around the cycle, having that improvement cycle going around. Those are your improvements in OEE, your improvements in wrench time, your improvements in mean time between Failure, it's an iterative process as you go around that loop. That's the culture that you're looking to try to create. So one of the big questions is, where do you start? PDCA begins with P, right? So why don't we start with governance? Okay, that's one place to start. A lot of people, I'll go back to that. But your plant's been around a long time. You've been going maybe clumsily around this cycle. You've been doing that for a long time. So maybe you've got that in place. So some people say, hey, let's start with planning and scheduling. Actually, quite a few people say, start with that. And what the problem with that is some of those changes take a long time. There's a lot of training involved. And, we're trying to get quarter over quarter improvement. And you may not see improvement here for 1, 2, even 3 years down the road. So there is some concern with starting there. I like to say, you got this cycle, and like I said, it's in place in your site. Maybe you're doing, getting a poor grade on some of the components, but it's in place at your site. I say start where your largest waste is. Start where you have the biggest opportunity, and you're going to find that through observation. I've said that enough. You're going to find that through observation. So you may find your place to start is right here in kitting and staging. We're going to do that, and we're going to immediately get a boost in wrench time. So we're going to free up some people that can be our planners, and maybe free up our reliability engineers because they're not doing constant reactive work. So maybe that's the right place to enter. But it starts with the waste in your plant. Okay. Governance, that's really a fancy term for your lead team, but it's a critical job. When I go into plants, one of the first things I look for is, do you have a governance team? And that governance team does not need to consist of just the maintenance manager or just the head reliability engineer. As I've said in previous videos, who owns reliability? Who owns it? It's operations. Operations are the deciders of how the equipment is going to be ran when you have outages to work on equipment. Now, there's a lot of advisors, the reliability engineers, the maintenance engineers, the maintenance staffing, they're all advisors. And those all make up this leadership team. So you need to have production, you need to have maintenance and engineering all represented in that governance group. And that their overall charge is, hey, let's not get death by PowerPoint, which is very common at locations. Let's put 60 metrics in front of people, let's chart them all, and let's show those to everybody over the 2 hours. No, your job as a governance committee is to pick 2 to 3 leverage points that you want to go after, and then go around that PDCA cycle. My hope here is that the reliability flywheel, going around here, calling it a flywheel, and that's where your improvements, like I said, in OE, wrench time, mean time between failure, is from going around that cycle. But what happens at a lot of locations is all they're doing is this. All they're doing is planning, scheduling, kitting, and executing, and then hoping tomorrow's a better day. You got to have the autopsy, okay? Now, a lot of people do a good job of this autopsy. They use metrics, biased metrics. And then, they come over here and, use those bias metrics to influence the lead team. As you've heard from plenty of videos from me, add observation to that. Add observation. One of the things that's a gaping hole in most organizations is they don't have that leadership body. They don't have that governance. And in place of that, it's the maintenance manager or the engineering manager. And they're trying to do that without the true owner of reliability of an asset being the operations lead. So this is quite often missing. So when you're looking at your plant, this is the action for next week for you folks. When you look at your plant, do you have all components of the PDCA in your reliability culture? And if not, you got to change it. Hit like and subscribe. If you are entertained by my videos, if you're learning something from my videos, I got my contact information below in the text. Again, this is not that hard of stuff, guys. Get your journey started. If I can help in any way, send me that email, send me a comment. but please just get started. That's what I'm hoping for out of these videos. Is very few people are probably going to contact me, but I'm hoping that dozens and dozens and hundreds start their journey, and I help them advance their journey. Thank you.